You are listening to MFM 92.6. Move to the music.
It is Kalesko with Take Me Where the Sun is Shining right here on MFM 92.6. Move to the music. Honestly, don't take me where the sun is shining right now because it's too hot. I'm not here for it. But you're tuned into The Drive Show with myself, Volney, Ayanda and Zico. And it is another installment of our Places and Spaces today. And we are chatting all things Stellenbosch Art Mile. Now, today we're actually quite thrilled to welcome Andi Norton, a key figure behind the Stellenbosch Art Mile. And this innovative project reimagines how art can intersect with nature, transform outdoor spaces into living galleries that, inspire and connect. We'll actually be diving into the vision, challenges, stories behind this cultural landmark and hearing more about the impact it's making on artists, the local community and visitors alike. Andi, welcome to MFM.
Thank you so much for having me. It's so lovely to be on the show.
So let's get started because this is something brand new. We've all, actually went to go explore it. It is absolutely gorgeous. But tell me, what inspired the creation of the Stellenbosch Art Mile? Were there specific challenges or, an opportunity that shaped its development?
So it's actually a deeply personal project with a very beautiful backstory. The patron is a local resident, and she was in Switzerland a number of years ago with her husband. At the time was very unwell and was in a clinic, a neuro clinic in Switzerland. And there was a park attached to the clinic where the family of the patients and also anyone who was recovering from the kind of the injuries that they had sustained could go into this space. And it was a public park which was multisensory, interactive. She was there with her young daughter at the time, and she just saw the impact that this public park had on everyone who came into contact with it. And her dream was to bring something like that to Stellenbosch. And she worked with a good friend, and together they started really putting the vision, making the vision come to life, and got together a great team of people. We really are very lucky to have a fantastic team behind this. But that's how it started. It was bringing something that had been had such an impact in her life to as a gift to the residents and visitors to Stellenbosch.
Yeah, it's absolutely gorgeous. And what's really cool about the Art Mile is that it blends art and nature, creating this immersive experience for anybody that visits. So can you share more about how, nature and art interact within this space?
Yeah, so it's really one of the prettiest places to work in Stellenbosch, to be on the banks of the Eerste River. And I didn't know until I started on the project that a mile is actually just over 1.6 kilometers. But it works out so beautifully that from the Kutzenberg Bridge, where the statue of Doc Craven is, from that bridge all the way to the Makota Bridge is 1.6 kilometers.
Wow.
So that makes up the mile, the Art Mile, so beautifully, the six bridges that it spans. And along that route is some of the prettiest natural sites that you'll find in Stellenbosch, and the river just changes throughout the year. So that was the site that we worked in, and then we got the artists. Some artists created bespoke works for a particular site, and then other artists we borrowed works and placed them in certain locations, and then interspersed between what one would consider fine art is more functional design. So we also have beautiful benches and other works that include nature, but it's more of a blurred kind of interweaving of art and design and function and nature. So I think that it really does blend beautifully within the surroundings. I think it's an enhancement rather than anything that stands out.
Sure. Now, can you please tell us, how does the Art Mile challenge traditional notions of arts galleries and museum, especially by using the outdoors as a canvas?
Well, that's something that personally I'm deeply, deeply passionate about, and that is the fact that the majority of people don't actually get to experience art in its conventional sites and locations, because so often, even if a museum or a gallery is free, it doesn't mean that it makes it feel welcoming and accessible to the majority of people.
Sure.
And to be honest, a lot of people don't even really think about where to go. It's not as if it's, something that you are faced with every day. So we're very passionate about democratizing art and making it as accessible as possible. And because we know the power of what art can do, the access to art just stimulates all sorts of things, and it doesn't matter whether you're young or old, it has an impact on all of us. So we are just delighted that this can be in nature, in a public space. We're so grateful to the Stellenbosch municipality for allowing us to use the banks of the river.
Sure.
And we went through very stringent permission processes, because we are deeply respectful of the spaces in the town, and we're very grateful that we're allowed to engage with these spaces, and we want to make sure that we, as I say, that we enhance them and leave them better than they were before. So yeah, I think the greatest joy is that it is free and accessible and there for anyone who walks along that route.
Sure, that's beautiful. Now, please tell us, how are the arts actually protected from vandalism?
So, I've been working with public art since 2009 through the Stellenbosch Outdoor Sculpture Trust, and we're the partner of the Art Mile. And we have gone through such a journey with the public and art, placing art on the streets. And the interesting thing is, yes, we've had a few instances over the years where art has, sometimes been seen as a bit of a trophy after a very late night. Maybe you've been to Varsity Cup and you've come out of New Bar and something looks very attractive at midnight. But generally, we find that if you place works that have value in a space, people then almost seem to believe that they have value too.
Sure.
Because it enhances the space. And I'm a very big believer in putting something out with really good energy and trusting that people will engage with it in a positive way. And generally, you would be surprised. I'm touching wood as I'm speaking to you, but we generally have very little vandalism.
Sure.
So we place it out there with trust. We also are practical. So there are cameras along the route. There's some really great lighting. We're going to put more lighting, but there's some really great lighting. A great deterrent is actually feet. So the busier a place is, the less chance there is of vandalism.
Yeah, wow.
And also, we're very practical when it comes to the materials that we use. So we install stuff really well, but we also try and not put temptation out for people. So we don't use metals that have a massive value if you were to take them to a scrapyard. We've learned so many lessons over the years, and we know now what is kind of very tempting for someone from a value if they had to take it to a scrapyard. So we work around all of that. We work around the fact that we understand that there are people who have very little who are around these works, but we also install them really well, and we do what we can to place security along the route, but at the end of the day, you also have to trust that the public will engage with it in a positive way.
That's lovely. There's so much thought and planning that has gone into this art mile, and it definitely shows. I'd love to know, how do you select, artists for each exhibition? I can imagine artists were lining up to sink their teeth into one of these things. What qualities and concepts were most important to you guys in the process of curation? How did you choose, okay, we're going to have this artist do this artist do this? How did that process look?
Yeah, so there were really a few considerations. It's all done with a lot of very careful thought and planning and discussion amongst the team, because we know that each artist brings their own lens. And I think something that should be avoided in any exhibition is to have artists that all have a very similar lens, because you end up with an echo chamber.
Wow.
So we were very passionate about diversity. We wanted the diversity to be around age, around gender, around color, around so we have everyone from a extraordinary Ugandan doctor of art, Dr. Rose Chiramira, who's in her 60s,
Wow.
all the way down to Nina Kruger, who's a very young, emerging. It's her first outdoor kind of installation that she's created. And then we found at one stage that we were leading quite heavily towards, more women artists. So we wanted to kind of balance that a bit.
Wow.
And we just believe that having diversity across the range of artists gives you different lenses. And these are subliminal things that come through. Sometimes the person who engages with the art doesn't even realize, but each work is being made by someone from a very diverse perspective, and that's what we wanted to do. And we also wanted to focus on local artists. We do believe that in this first phase, we wanted to give an opportunity to artists who are from either around Stellenbosch and the surrounding areas, or like, for instance, Dr. Vulindlela Nyoni, someone who had worked at Stellenbosch. So Vulindlela worked at the university for a long time before he moved to Gqeberha. So yeah, we wanted people who had a connection with the town, and as I say, just a diversity of lenses and voices.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful to hear. My favorite piece is the green, the big bright green piece by whatever.
Good.
I love that one. It just stands out.
Good.
Yeah, it's beautiful, and every piece is just unique and beautiful. And so you guys have done a great job in curating and choosing and handpicking these artists. The theme for the Art Mile is the tapestry of time. What surprising or innovative ways have artists approached this theme in some of their art?
It's been so exciting to watch how they've interpreted the theme. So, for instance, someone like Dr. Rose Chiramira, who created those extraordinary wooden wheels that you can turn and engage with, she based that on the Tibetan meditation kind of reels that are normally, I've got to get this right now, vertical, but she did hers in more of a horizontal way. But for her, it's around stopping time.
Wow.
And actually being in the moment. She calls it serenity. It's about engaging with the work and really going into a meditative, mindful, stopping time, just being in the moment.
Sure.
So that's how she interpreted that. And then you've got someone like Sivan Zephyr who then engaged with time in the way that her material breaks down over time in the trees. So hers is the cloth that hangs in the trees, and she wove steel wool into the cloth, into the most beautiful patterns, knowing that as the rain comes down, the steel wool will rust, and then the rust will run through. So time, the evolving of time, will see how that work actually changes and will eventually disintegrate, and that's over time. So there's that, and then you get the more literal, which is the Vierlehande bronze work by Jacques Base and Rudolf Goos. And for that, it almost looks like a clock and the hands of a clock. So it's kind of the literal hands of a clock. There's this kind of literal, there's something a little bit more esoteric. And then referring back to your favorite work, the green Eduardo Villa, the Sentinel. I think that is a beautiful conversation with Doc Craven, because Doc Craven is kind of this, they're facing each other, and the villa is a sentinel kind of guarding the entrance to Kutzenberg, but it's this very modern, abstract piece, almost in conversation with Doc Craven. So you've got these two different times, one very classical and one very modern.
Beautiful.
So time is really thought about in each work and comes through in a very different and interesting way.
Lovely.
Wow. Andy, thank you so much for taking some time to chat to us. We will actually be chatting to you a little bit more just to find out a little bit more, but we will actually be chatting to Nina Kruger about her artwork piece in a couple of minutes. So,
oh, good.
Yes. So we will be chatting to you in just a little bit. So stay tuned for that and so much more. But back to the music for now. It's Jamie Lee Sexton with Goodbye and Good Luck. It's Jamie Lee Sexton with Goodbye and Good Luck right here on MFM 92.6. You're still tuned into the Drive Show with myself, Volnay, Ayanda and Zico. And we are joined by one of the incredible artists today who submitted or has a piece of artwork out on the Stellenbosch Art Mile. And that is Nina Creer. Now, she is a talented contemporary fiber artist with this rich academic background. And her work blends plant, animal and human-made materials, exploring themes of interconnectedness and the transient nature of time. Now, her latest installations, Shifting Shadows, actually features over 6,000 woven eucalyptus seed pods and invites us to reflect on life cycles and transformations. Nina, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you. It's a pleasure. Love to be here.
So, Nina, let's find out a little bit more about you. Can you start off by telling us a bit about your background and your journey as an artist?
Sure. After high school, I went straight into my BA, studied for 4 years in Pretoria. And then right after that, I worked in the textile industry. And a lot of my art is inspired from the commercial textile industry. So I worked there for about 6 years, and then I went to Poland to do my master's in fiber art there.
Wow.
Yeah, that was quite a very interesting and wonderful experience. Such an interesting country to get to know, and also they have rich contemporary art traditions there. So I learned a lot, but I missed South Africa, and I came back with vengeance to create work and be inspired by our natural landscape.
Yeah, and you often incorporate plant, animal and human-made materials into your art. So could you share some of the specific materials that inspire you and why?
Sure. So I'm inspired directly from the environments that I'm situated in, and it's largely a conversation with the materials. It's something that stands out, but I do tend to think sustainably about the materials that I use, because every action has an impact. So I try to look at what is abundant, maybe what's an alien plant in the industry, in the environment. So then I collect those materials that have interesting characters, like in the Shifting Shadows installations. I was fascinated by the patterns that each pod has, but in a large scale, and put together the interesting patterns that can emanate from them. So yeah, it's a conversation with the materials.
And how do you see the relationship between the organic and the human-made in your work, especially in exploring the interconnectedness of all things?
So I try to blur the boundaries between the material and the human element, so that we don't see a division, but more overlap. As you said, the interconnectedness, that we can see ourselves in nature and see nature within us, because we are part of a larger planet, and everything is connected. So if we can relate to the world around us more, I think every material, us included, will benefit from that mentality.
Wow, yeah.
Sure. Now let's talk about your installation, Shifting Shadows. It uses over 6,000 eucalyptus seed pods, right? Could you walk us through the creative process behind this piece?
So it started with collecting. I started collecting them now a year ago. So it started a while back, because it's 6,000. Each one was individually collected, and then each one is cleaned and also individually drilled, and it has to be drilled twice so that there are 4 holes. And as you can imagine, it's such an intensive process, and it's also such a meditative process as well. So after the collection, cleaning and drilling, the weaving starts, and That's also, it's woven with wire, so it's very hard materials and it's very taxing on the body. So it's really a lot of blood, sweat, and tears of joy and tears of sorrow went into the creation of the piece.
Sure. Now, Shifting Shadows invites a contemplation of life's fleeting moments. What do you hope viewers will take away after experiencing this installation?
I think it will come back to the conversation about the interconnectedness, so that they firstly see themselves more as part of the environment and as part of nature, but also to look at the environment in a different way, because those seed pods are largely from Stellenbosch, but it's all over the Western Cape. So I hope that the viewers will recognize the seed pods in other parts of the country and just think differently about their relationship and their responsibility towards the environment and other materials and bodies that surround them. But also the changing of time, so to be in the moment and just think about how precious time is, because the seed pods will erode and decay eventually, just like us. So enjoy each moment.
That's lovely. That's lovely. Nina, we love your piece. We watched the little YouTube clip that you uploaded and explaining the thoughts behind the piece. And you share there about how the eucalyptus pods will decay over time. And, this is a massive part of your work, growth and decay. How does that theme manifest in both the materials that you use and the ideas that you explore in your art?
It's also interconnected. Most of my materials that I use is natural or organic, and in a different work that I created, actually in the whole work you can see how the time passed, because the seeds that the plants that I collected was fresh at the beginning of the season. Then throughout the season you see it's more blackened as the sun scorched it throughout the summer. So those kind of themes are very interesting for me, because it's one way that I can relate to the artwork, and so that it's a dialogue and a resonance within the work. So it's bouncing back ideas and conversation with my material. So it's not just me creating the work, it's the work we creating together.
Beautiful, beautiful. We'd also love to know how the landscape of the Stellenbosch Art Mile influenced your design and execution of your installations, and how do you see it engaging with the local community and visitors? I love the way that it flows over the benches, and it's just like, it looks just like one piece of art. So yeah, how did the landscape influence what you decided to do in the end, and how do you see people engaging with it?
The landscape had a big impact. I specifically chose a spot that was very sunlit, so that the piece itself created the shadows.
Wow.
So there's another element of transition of time throughout the day and seasons. The shadows will look different, and so the actual big structures are trying to symbolize spontaneous sprouting forms, so that it's also it echoes the natural and beautiful landscape that Stellenbosch is so well known. So it's not, although it is hard materials like steel, we also left it unfinished. So over time the rust will become more, and the color will also change, so that it can blend in the beautiful mountains and the trees behind it. And I think that I wanted the piece to fit into what Stellenbosch is known for, this beautiful hub within these mountains and the greenery and the trees. So it has a reflection of where it is.
Absolutely lovely. Nina, thank you so much for joining us. If any of our listeners want to find some of your work or find you online on the socials, where can we look you up?
My Instagram handle is @Nina Kruger.
Lovely stuff.
Fantastic. Nina, thank you so much for taking some time out of your day to chat to us a little bit about your artwork. Absolutely fantastic. And we thank you so much for the art that you've created for us to go have a look and, just to reflect on.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me and have a lovely day.
Thank you. You too. Bye.
Bye.
So there you have it. Go have a look at Nina Creer's artwork. And let me tell you, you don't need to go to some art gallery. It's right here in Stellenbosch. Just go have a walk on the Stellenbosch Art Mile and you will get to see it. But let's get back to the music for now with Megan Thee Stallion featuring RM. It's Never Play. Of BTS, discussing our places and spaces today, which is the gorgeous Stellenbosch Art Mile. I'm not gonna lie, that's my favorite place to go have a walk nowadays.
Right.
Because every time I discover something
You
new.
feel very sophisticated when you're walking. You're like, ooh, art. Look at me. Look at me.
But once again, joining us, not in studio, but on the line is Andi Norton, one of the people who helped create the Stellenbosch Art Mile. Andy, hi, welcome back.
Thanks, guys. Hi.
So, Andy, we just want to find out a little bit more. How does the Art Mile foster engagement between the local community and, the visitors? Because obviously this is something that it was created for.
Absolutely. So I think first and foremost, it is created for the residents of Stellenbosch, and we wanted to make sure that there was something along the route for all ages. But more and more, we are finding that the tourists who come to town have definitely discovered it already. And I am quite amazed when I see these massive groups of tourists on their bicycles all come wooding past while we are on the mile. So it's really lovely to see the engagement between local people and the tourists, but it's also really important to us to extend the reach from not just those that either live close by, work close by, or go to school close by. We really are actively trying to encourage people from further around Stellenbosch who don't always engage with the Easter River in that spot to really come and enjoy it as well. Specifically on weekends, we think of families who don't necessarily have gardens of their own at their own homes, to really try and encourage them to come and enjoy it. So we're working very hard to get our marketing and our message out to communities further away from the Easter River as well.
That's fantastic. And I've been there during the week and on weekends, and it's so great to see kids there as well, having a fun time. And I'm not going to lie, the interactive sensory art pieces, those have to be my favorite. It just stimulates my brain. And in that, topic, in that direction, what do you hope visitors will take away from their experience of walking the Art Mile?
Yeah, I think it goes back to the original idea of why it was introduced to the town, and that goes back to the patron who has gifted this to our town, and her personal story and her experience, and just for it to be a place where we can just be a little bit, we could take some time out, we can just remember to breathe, we can be in nature. The world is so crazy, it is so busy, especially at this time of year. And for it to be a space where people can connect with each other, but also where you can be on your own if you need that time and space. That's why we have those lovely benches along the route. Just there's something incredibly special about being in nature and having a moment just to be quiet. And we'd love people for it to be a place to just pause, reflect, be mindful, and maybe just also look around and be really grateful for what is surrounding us.
Sure, that's beautiful. Now, looking beyond this year, what are some exciting developments or expansion we can expect from the Art Mile?
Yeah, so we've got such exciting plans in the works. We are working with a number of galleries at the moment, because a lot of the bigger galleries have got incredible works of art that they are not always able to show. So a lot of them are in their storage facilities. So we're doing some great partnerships with a whole bunch of galleries and other sculpture parks from around the country, and we're just trying to make the change of works, the works that are not permanent. Some are permanent and some change, but we're looking to eventually get into a rhythm that coincides with the seasons. So we'd like to change the artworks every 3 months. There's something different, something new, something fresh, because as lovely as it is to walk along there every day and see the same things, it's also quite exciting knowing that every 3 months there'll be a little something new and a new surprise, something new to engage the senses. So we're working with a number of people to fill in a few little holes along the route that we've spotted, and to just bring people some fresh new artworks every few months.
Sure, that's good. I mean, you spoke a bit about the collaboration and partnerships, but can you, speak more on the collaborations and the partnerships on the way for the Art Miles that you are and everyone else is excited about?
Yeah, absolutely. As I mentioned earlier, the Stellenbosch municipality has been great because although they don't give any money to the project, they allow us to work on site. They allow us to actually use those places. We have dealt with every single department within the municipality with the various permissions, and we work very closely with the greening department, so kind of the parks and recreation and open spaces. They assist us where they can. With any kind of maintenance, mowing, things like that. But we're also very lucky that there is a great organization already working on the Easter River, which is called the Stellenbosch Trail Fund. This is another non-profit organization. And the Stellenbosch Trail Fund under Onati is the man on the ground who really runs this extraordinary team. They are so great. They are there to clip, to mow, to weed eat, to place more mulch, to just sort things out. So we work very closely with them. We've also been in stakeholder engagement with people like Remgro. So Remgro have paid for the whole Wandelpad from kind of the Rupert Museum up to just past Paul Roos Makota, and then we've taken over the next section.
Wow.
So there are a lot of people in town doing really great things. We deal with the security people along the route. Everyone brings their little bit. And, it takes a village to do most things in life. It's never about one person or one entity, and the more we collaborate and the more we partner, the better product we can actually create for the town. And we've got fantastic partners on the ground.
That's beautiful. I'm so glad there's thought and effort and finance going into making Stellenbosch more beautiful. Because I think, our town is known for so many things and your sport and whatnot. But man, let's make our town beautiful as well. Let's fill it with art. Let's fill it with meaningful things. And you guys are definitely doing that. If there's someone listening that's, still not sold on the Stellenbosch Art Mile, maybe a skeptic, maybe still going, all this stuff sounds amazing. All the art, all the talk. But I'm not sold yet. What would you tell them, Andy? Why should people go look at the Art Mile?
I think firstly, take a walk outside. That's always the best advice. I think that solves many of your problems. But if you're going to take a walk, do yourself a favor and just go and walk along that section, and then come back and tell me if you're not convinced. Because it's one thing explaining it, but it's a whole nother thing when you actually walk it and see it, and there are all these little surprises along the way.
Yes.
So I'd say to any skeptics, go and actually experience it for yourself, and then see how you feel after that. I believe the product will sell itself.
Lovely. And just a reminder, from where to where is the Art Mile again, Andy, just for anyone listening?
Sure. So you can start at any point, but it officially stretches from the bridge at Kutsenberg. So the bridge that you cross to go across to into Kutsenberg, where the Doc Craven's statue is. It's that pedestrian bridge and vehicle bridge. From there, all the way to the Makota sports fields, which is where that lovely container cafe, Eerste Café, is. That bridge there at the bottom of Krieger Street. So
lovely.
It spans those 6 bridges along that mile.
Beautiful. And Andy, if our listeners want to find out more information about the Art Mile, any exhibitions, events, where can we find you guys online, on the socials? Where can we look you guys up?
Absolutely. So I think the social media guys are just doing a fantastic job. And that's at Stellenbosch _Art Mile. And it's the same. I mean, I engage most with the Instagram, but it's on all the socials. And they're doing a great job. And then there's just a good old fashioned website. It's just called artmile.co.za.
Lovely.
Fantastic. Andy, thank you so much for taking some time out of your day to chat to us about this incredible thing that you guys created, bringing different people from different backgrounds together to, get up and go outside, have some fresh air, look at some birds and trees, but also to really look at artwork and showcase the local talent.
Yeah, well, that's been the goal, and I'm so pleased to hear how much you guys enjoy it. I hope that all your listeners will engage with this, and we'd love to hear their feedback on all the socials. But thank you for giving us this opportunity to talk about it. We're very proud.
Thank you so much. Andy, I hope you have a beautiful day.
Thank you so much. You guys too. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Bye.
You are listening to MFM 92.6. Move to the music.